Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the newest instalment of the MFW podcast. Whether you are watching on YouTube or you are listening on Spotify of the newest episode of the weekly pod, I'm Freddie Humphrey Wakefield, and I'm joined by, for the second week in a row, all three of my fellow hosts. Will Grant is here, Jack Wright is here, Henry Miller's back from the nest, and he's here as well. So a pleasure to have all three with me this evening. But before we dive into finally some Norwich City related content as the international break came to an end and club football returned over the weekend, pretty much just gone. How have all the three of you been, and what's been going on in your personal lives? Don't all rush at once.
I'll start then. Yeah, it's been really good, thank you. I co-presented a show on Future Radio, which was good. I'll be presenting their Norwich Today show on Thursdays in December, so really looking forward to that and really prepping myself for that as well. So that's really good. And then today I went to the Nest on behalf of the BBC. Saw a good win for Norwich City women. They're into the third round of the FA Cup. They got knocked out at the second round stage last year, so they've already done one better. And the women's championship sides come in at the next round. So, it's a huge win for Norwich. And it was a Hope Strauss penalty in the 15th minute that sealed the Canaries' progression. And I managed to speak to Andy Cook after the game, and he was delighted, as you could probably imagine. And I think Norwich got the game plan down to a T. So really happy with that as well.
Yeah, well, my voice is still a bit sore from yesterday's outing at West Brom, but really good away day actually. I thought the away crowd were absolutely excellent. And I think West Brom would actually, for me, go down as one of the most quietest home grounds I've been to in a while. Just no atmosphere whatsoever. Norwich fans are great, but overall, I'm good, recovering, and ready to go for a 3-game week.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty quiet. I just had a roast dinner on Saturday, and I've just had the leftovers from that. I was just saying about how immaculate my roast potatoes are. Probably not as good as Delia's. But nice and crispy, lots of nice beef dripping, all that stuff. So Christmas is coming. I'm prepping myself for probably having like 4 or 5 different roast dinners over Christmas. We've all got to, we've got to get into shape. Otherwise it's going to hit us like a gravy train.
So what I'm hearing then, in March, the next international break, rather than doing a quiz, we need to do a MFW bake-off. Or like...
I wouldn't mind it. We'll get Delia to sponsor it. I'm sure someone with at MFW.
No, Delia will be the woman officiating it. She'll be like Paul Hollywood. Rather than a Hollywood handshake, you get like a Delia Smith rant or something.
Oh dearie me! No, then that'll be interesting. No, we'll have to try and wriggle our way around that. Try and get all 4 of us in the same place at once. I think that would be quite difficult, considering that 2 of us don't even live in Norfolk. But there's strong opinions on that within the group that we're better off left out for now. So we'll all stay quiet, and we won't all try and just have a go at each other. We'll try and stay level-headed and that we like each other, because I promise we do. We get on really, really well. No, we all love each other, as Jack puts a love heart up with both of his hands. But back to the thing that we all very much love, and that's our football club, Norwich City. Back playing football, got a 2-2 draw away at the Hawthorns. They led for all of 2 minutes, but I'm sure that was a great 2 minutes in that away end of 2,500 Canaries. Will can probably vouch for it, and the overall atmosphere and feel in the Black Country. But Norwich, they did well. It was really horrible conditions. Storm Bert has been in full force, really gale force winds pretty much, and a lot of heavy rain, which maybe altered the game itself and playing to the conditions, both sides trying to just replicate something Tony Pulis would have a little grin on his face of while watching the game. But Norwich, they've stopped a bit of a rot. They lost their last 3 in a row. They have got a draw, but they're still 7 without a win. They've not won since the 5th of October when they played Hull City. Maybe they can get their next win come Tuesday night against Plymouth Argyle, but that's a topic to go on to in a second. But 7th draw of the season, you can't really complain given how well West Brom have done. They're now, I believe the Baggies are now unbeaten in 8, but that was their 7th draw within those 8 games. So maybe it was a bit of a banker for the game being a draw, but from our internal score predictions, I don't think anyone actually predicted a draw. So that shows how much we know. And that's maybe why we ended up keeping them internal rather than public. But sort of start off with, yes, we have ended the rot, but really, Will, I'll come to you for it. Really, the vibe from the away end. What was it like in there, sort of throughout the entire game? Really, of course, Norwich have got some players back from injuries, but what's that sort of overall mood in the fan camp, if you will?
Yeah, I think if I was to compare the Bristol City game at full time compared to the West Brom game, I would say so much more positive. It felt like that performance against West Brom could be a foundation for Norwich to kick on for the rest of the season, especially in these group of games coming up. I mean, we've got Plymouth, Luton, QPR, and Portsmouth. 4 games, arguably where I think I'd probably expect between 7 to 10 points at the very least. So I think definitely a better feeling compared to a fortnight ago. But I just think the way that Norwich approached the game was how I expected us to approach the game. Albeit, I think West Brom actually showcased more attacking intent compared to what they've showcased across the whole of the season so far. So I thought a more open game. But a topic which I'm actually quite starting to get a bit worried about now is that this is now our 6th consecutive game of us conceding more than 2 goals. And albeit maybe George Long's probably more at fault, maybe, or maybe the defence as a whole was more of a worry in that regard. But I just think when it starts to get beyond a 5-game period where these trends have started to happen, then I think it's something to worry about. Albeit Norwich do play Plymouth on Tuesday, so that might change. But I think it's definitely something which we're going to have to work on. I don't think it's be a important topic for the game against Plymouth, because I think the game against Plymouth is going to be about not trying to break down quite a low block and try and find solutions in that regard. But overall, I said to you earlier in the week, Freddie, that I wanted to see a performance from that West Brom game, and I certainly got that. Albeit as well, we also applied some really, really good moments in the final third, scored 2 nice goals, despite one of them being an own goal. But the build-up for that goal, I thought, was absolutely brilliant from Norwich. And I thought, Emilio Marcondes, I owe you a massive apology, because I think actually since he's come into the team, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Honestly do a breath of fresh air, and I think he's such an astute and clever and very, very meticulous in the way that he links the ball up with his other teammates. And I just think having him across the whole season could be a very, very good thing for Norwich. And I'm just very happy with how he performed. But I must say, although it was a very, very good point against West Brom, we've got to back it up on Tuesday night. It's an absolute banker. We need to, because I think although this season isn't about results, I still think if you're Norwich and in a championship, you have to be beating teams that are probably going to be in a relegation battle at home. So that's my overriding thoughts. But from the fans' perspective, it felt very positive, and I think the fans also thought as well, with the games coming up, that yesterday was a really good foundation for Norwich to kick on.
No, that's great to hear. No, that's very good. As long as the mood was positive and everyone can sort of, again, get on board with the project, that's very promising. And you touched on there about Norwich do need to back it up against Plymouth. They do. Plymouth have lost 19 of their 33 championship away games since they were promoted to the division. They've only won 3 times in those 31 matches. So a win percentage rate of less than 10 away from home. So if Norwich fail to win that game, then that's probably a very major cause for concern. They will most likely be in a relegation battle, but they've got the tendency to churn out results or at home at least, but away from home, they've scored 2 goals in 8 matches away from home this season. If Norwich fail to get something out of that game, then maybe there'll be question marks above heads, as Jack below me has just got his head in his hands and he's got a bit of a smirk on his face. So I think he's getting ready to screen record me later and he can put that up after we've lost on Tuesday night. But don't blame me. What I say has got no impact on the match whatsoever. I'm not that heavily involved within the backroom staff. But going back to Saturday, Norwich, in terms of the statistics for the people that love them, Norwich had a better expected goal, so effectively had better clear-cut opportunities in order to score goals. West Brom overall, I think it was something like 1.6. It's written down somewhere. I had a look at it, but no, I can't remember it too much. But Norwich had the higher quality of chances, but were unable to put them away. And maybe it was West Brom's wastefulness which maybe helped Norwich. But does that expose the attacking flaws that Norwich have got? Of course, we are without Josh Sargent, and they've only got a striker who has scored 1 goal this season in Ante Sienat, and Emi Marcondes has now got his first goal, but then again hasn't maybe shown too much attacking prowess in terms of goal scoring opportunities. The likes of Onel Hernandez are back, and there's even as well Ashley Barnes, who might be returning soon, but there's still a few injuries in that attacking areas anyway. But it just seems that even though Norwich still have a player of Borja Sainz's quality, the top scorer in the division, there's no one else who really seems like they're stepping up in that forward line yet. And that is quite a major flaw, you could argue, because every team needs goal scorers, but Norwich just don't really seem to have one other than Sainz.
Yeah, I think it is difficult. We've basically got a striker who's his caliber of performance is so high. Whenever he's not in the team, that the team does suffer for it. And look, we've got a replacement in Sienat who is a work in progress. And then other than that, we're having to play makeshift number 9s, such as Sainz up top or Marcondes up top. Both arguably haven't worked, but off the wings, they've been really effective, and that is clearly their main position. So I think with Norwich, in terms of attack going forward, we do seriously miss Josh Sargent, and not just his goals, but everything else that he brings on the pitch as well. So that's been a really difficult injury and avenue for the club to overcome. But yeah, I think we just need to try and back Sienats as much as possible. To be honest, Will, you touched on there about results not really mattering this season for Norwich. I don't get people who say that results don't matter, and then also at the same time are calling for Sienats to be out of the team because he hasn't scored in 4 or 5 games. Yes, he is a work in progress, but this is the ideal season to give him that time to hopefully be able to build his stock in the English game, and then hopefully repay some of the price tag that we forked out for him. So yeah, we just need to back him really. But I think maybe the lack of other options as well is harming the team. Kennaboa came with such a high talking point around him in the summer. Obviously, the contract scenario with him as well, and then he was sent out on loan on deadline day. So yeah, we've not really got any options. But for me, we just need to back Sienats at the minute.
Yeah. No.
I will. I was going to let you speak on this, but I can add to that. Just in terms of goal scorers, you're saying we don't have many options, but OG has just got their 2nd goal of the season. I think Senny Dieng was definitely an own goal, and Megum, whatever his name is. Yeah, so that's an avenue of attack that we can definitely exploit. I mean, listening to that game, I tweeted it at halftime. It felt like a classic Coca-Cola Championship affair, like blowing gale, like driving rain, an own goal, a disallowed goal, chances flying in, crosses flying in. Not that that's necessarily a good thing, but from a football purist, that's fun. And I'll give Will and all of his other 2,499 fans in that Hawthorns end. You all sounded impeccable. But yeah, in terms of goal scoring, I think one of the problems is that this is probably the first season in a while where we haven't had, I'd say Signs is obviously a guaranteed goal scorer, but we've obviously had Pookie as a striker who's just going to bag, even having players like Sarah who can create chances. At the moment, it's literally just Signs and no one else. We've got a team of very they're just not goal scorers. There's no one else in the team with goals. I figured out that in nearly 7 years at the club, Onel has 15 goals in 7 years for an attacker. Okay, he's had injuries. Okay, he hasn't played. But it's the same point that's made a lot of the time. We're getting into late 2024, and there are fans very angrily arguing whether we should definitely play Ono Hernandez up front as a striker. We were playing Premier League football in 2022, and it's got it's got to this point where we're we're going through the bin bag and picking out bits of food. Oh, this is still edible. I think we can eat that. Well, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe that's how it feels in my head. But we have fallen very far. I think no one should celebrate a draw. Celebrating a draw, no matter what team you are, no matter if you play in East Anglia or not. I'm not gonna say anything more. I'm not gonna mention any colours like blue. But that's tin pot. Don't celebrate a draw, right, guys?
No, I disagree. Unfortunately,
I think
well done.
I think one thing that I'll also say though to counteract your point, guys, is although Sunach isn't playing up to his level right now, Norwich is still in the top 5 for goal scoring this season. So there's obviously something going right there. And I just think, for me, it's more about trying to believe in what JHT is trying to do from an attacking sense, and about how much chances we are creating regularly and how good those chances are as well. I think for me with Sunach as well, I don't think he's mentally ready yet to go and be our striker. I just don't think he's got the confidence yet. And I think when Saja got injured, I don't think he was fully settled in to then all of a sudden be the main man for Norwich and lead the line. I just think he needs a bit more time to kind of see himself in a little bit more on that right-hand side position, and then before he wants to try and play as a striker. I just think right now, I think he's been asked to do too much in terms of what the team needs. And I just think maybe even if he gets rested for a game or two, I just personally think he hasn't got the mentality yet to be our number 9, and he still wants to try and settle in and just try and nail down that right wing spot role. Because right now, obviously, Norwich are scoring goals, but there still feels like there's so many questions in terms of that right wing striker role. So it's an interesting one for me, but I personally just don't think Sunach is ready to be our striker yet. I just think he hasn't kind of got that mentality yet to succeed in that role.
No,
yeah, and following on from Jack's point as well about Ono Hernandez, I think going into 2025 and having Hernandez as a serious contender to start matches in the Championship, something has clearly gone wrong there, don't get me wrong. I like Ono Hernandez. I think as a player and as a character, he's such an asset to the club. But he should be nowhere near that Norwich City team if we've got serious aspirations to push towards the Premier League. I feel like Ono Hernandez is everyone's favourite player between the age of 9 and 13 because he's pacey and he does YouTube videos. And then those people grow up and then realise, actually, he's probably not that good.
Oh dear. Well, let's hope he's not subscribed to our channel. No, well,
if you'd ever like to come on the podcast, Onel, we'd welcome you.
yeah, we gladly welcome you on. That would be lovely. Yeah, I'm sure we'd love to. That'd be very great. We get some lovely added insight from our mate from Cuba. But anyway, we'll move on from those points about Norwich maybe having attacking flaws, and all very fair points made by all three of you. But maybe going on to sort of more players who have had positive impacts as of late. Jack Stacey came back into the starting 11, his first start in 10 games, I believe, and played amongst what looked like maybe a back four or back five at times for Norwich during the game. I know that there was concerns when the starting 11 was put out and everyone was just looking at Sorensen as if he was listed as a centre half, and everyone maybe it was heart in mouth moments seeing that after he's not exactly had the best return since coming back from injury and coming into the first team. But Stacey came back, got a start, got an assist for Marcondes, a lovely marauding run forward, and just pulled it back for Marcondes to tap in from all of about 6 yards from goal. Maybe is he? Do you think he's the key, really, Jack Stacey, to maybe unlocking the versatility of Callum Fisher amongst the back line? And with Jose Cordoba looking as if he might be out for a little while as he's feeling pain in his knee that he had when he got injured against Leeds United a few weeks ago, could maybe Jack Stacey become a bit of a regular once again in this Norwich City starting 11? And can he make Callum Fisher an even better player and just test him and show that there is still competition there at fullback in this Norwich side?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's got a very good chance now because Fisher obviously will miss the Plymouth game in midweek due to picking up one too many yellow cards. So this is really Jack Stacey's opportunity to nail down his spot in the starting 11. And what I will say about not just Jack Stacey, but about the right back position as a whole, is probably the most expendable position we've got at the minute. You know, whether it's Fisher or Stacey starting there, I'm pretty sure most Norwich City fans would be happy with either of them. And to be fair, I don't think we'd lose much quality whoever we play in that position. So for me, not that I want players to get suspended, but it's the best position to have someone out for me because I don't think you lose much. And I think both Stacey and Fisher are tremendous players at this level. So hopefully Jack Stacey can really kick on after getting that assist and playing with confidence. And there's no doubt he will improve Callum Fisher's performances, especially if Jack Stacey gets a run in the team over Callum Fisher as well, because then Callum Fisher will be chomping at the bit to regain his spot. So there's no doubt that both of their performances sort of work well for each other, really.
I just think as well, Stacey gives you something different, which Norwich don't actually have in that right back role, or even actually the fullback role. I think he gives you such great speed and like physical qualities in the sense that I think what made him so brilliant against West Brom is as well as him being a very, very reliable outlet in the attacking third, but also, especially towards the latter stages of the game in the second half, he won so many fouls just due to running up the flank and just trying to commit defenders. And I think those little nuances is so important in an away game, especially against a side who are probably more likely to win than you are. And I just think the way that he brought back momentum to Norwich was very, very effective, really. And I just think when you have a player in Ante Cernak and a man called Thorson, the likes to drift in from the right-hand side as well. I think it makes actually for a very, very good combination, actually, because you've got someone from the attacking right midfield position wanting to cut inside, and then someone wants to go on the outside as well. And that just makes Norwich so much more fluid in attacking, and it was demonstrated perfectly across the game, really. I thought actually Forster and Stacey worked so well as an attacking pair. And I think hopefully that is something which we'll see more of, because although Cameron Fisher has done so well recently in that right-back position, I also think he's such a good footballer that he can also play on the left-hand side as well. Albeit maybe we probably won't see it against Plymouth, obviously because he's suspended. I think also as well, going into the Luton game, having watched quite a lot of Luton this season, they like to try and target fullback's height, for example. So the amount of crosses they'll like to swing in towards a back post, and then you see the likes of Carlton Morris and Adebayo just peeling off the other team's fullback. So I just think for that game, maybe that might mean Crescene and Stacey might both up together. So maybe if Crescene and obviously Stacey perform well against Plymouth, then that might also be the lineup for the Luton game as well. So overall, I thought Stacey, I think this time out of the team as well, has actually probably made him more determined to kind of fight back for his space again, really, because obviously last year, I think actually he was also in a similar boat. You look back to that Sunderland game when actually Fisher started that game, and then Stacey came back and performed so well towards the end of the season as well. So he played ever so well that season as well. So I think hopefully this could be quite a turning point for Stacey and in this Norwich City regime, really, because actually I think during the last few games, I think we've seen Fisher probably being the long-term guy in that position, but I just think Stacey showcased his point of difference very, very effectively, really. And I think when you've got a lot of pressure on your goal towards the last stages of the game, having someone like Stacey that can just win a foul is so important. And I thought overall he was so direct and gave us so much on the ball and off the ball as well. So very, very impressive, Jack's performance.
Oh, thank you. Oh, right. No, the other one.
About yourself, Jack.
I mean, to be honest, like pace isn't my forte, or crossing, or dribbling, or
passing,
or passing, yet defending. I'd definitely be a bronze card, I think. Or do they do anything less than bronze? What's like
no, the bronze is the lowest rank, I'm afraid.
Oh, like a just a bit of flint card. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something less than bronze. Anyway, yeah, no, I agree with what Henry said in terms of the sort of weird strength of depth in that position. Stacey kind of only really got dropped because I think it was Fisher started the Watford game this season and then kind of went on a run from there. There wasn't really any, he wasn't performing badly. And especially last season, I think we would all kind of agree that Stacey was probably one of the more underrated performers. So to kind of have him back at a time where we don't have, when we have a lot of injury crises and we're looking deep into the squad for solutions in different places, it's fantastic to have someone who's already just pretty good at playing in their position, and they can just come in. And like you said about the suspension, I'm not worried because he'll just slot in at right back and it'll be fine. You mentioned about Kellen's versatility, whether he can play at left back, or I think in pre-season he dabbled in midfield a little bit. We mentioned about the right wing position.
No, he's not. He can't.
Maybe, if he goes to the gym, goes on the treadmill, and
gets a beard,
and grows the beard, it's essential. Like imagine Messi without a beard, right? Still pretty good. And then when Messi had a beard and his blonde hair, do you remember blonde hair beard Messi? Yeah, elite. Although I think beardless Messi was probably his 90 goal season. But
yeah,
ignore that, Kellen. Grow a beard, play at right wing, and we're gonna go to Wembley in either the FA Cup or the playoffs. So there we go. Right wing.
Well, he does follow us on X, Kellen Fisher. So maybe he's seen that. Maybe that's the boost he needs, and maybe he'll have renewed confidence from that, and maybe he will start right. If he starts right wing on Tuesday, it's no coincidence.
He's suspended. He can't.
Of course he can't. Oh my god! It's been a long
Right,
day.
Next game against Luton. Luton is your chance, Kellen.
There you go. He'll watch the podcast on Tuesday in the stands if the game gets a bit dull. He'll pass the time if he really wants. But no, he can't start. No, we did just say that about 5 minutes ago. So sorry, I'm not with it whatsoever. I had a bit of a late night. I had a Will Grant sort of night last night, and those that know exactly how those nights sort of go. But no,
lots of custard, yeah.
Jam roly-poly exclusive, mate. No, a lovely Aunt Bessie's dish. But no, enough about Sunday desserts. We'll go back to another player who maybe has been a bit of breath of fresh air, but in the academy sides. And Will, it's funny I bring up his name because he was on the front page of the EDP the other day, which is absolutely superb. Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. We've got to give him it. It's amazing. He was on the front page. He did he did an article for the Pinkin about Lucian Mahovo, a youth signing who came from Notts County. I believe he mainly plays at left back. Will can correct me on that because Will, of course, everyone should go and give it a read first and foremost. It's online as well if you prefer that rather than an actual printed sheets of paper. But anyway, Will, I'll let you give the exclusive really. Just how good has this kid been, and does he maybe have a chance of getting into the first team amid the injury crisis?
Well, if you were going to ask me that question probably about a week ago, or no, a month ago actually, sorry, when there was more injury problems with the likes of McLean, Nunes, Samani all out, etc., then I would maybe have thought maybe he might have had more of a chance. But yeah, Lucian's been so good for the 21s this season. He's just been so consistent, and he's looked like he's backed up with first team training performance as well, being really, really good. That's been so key. I think he's played 10 consecutive games for the 21s after the opening game of the season. So missed the first game of the season. He played 10 consecutive games for the 21s, and he was just absolutely brilliant, really. He's so good on the ball, and I would describe him very much to a Callum Doyle type player, in the sense that his best attribute is his passing from deep areas. And as well as his passing from deep areas, I think Norwich actually probably bought him in the summer to kind of be Callum Doyle's long-term replacement, if you will. But obviously now, due to Norwich 21s, keeping the likes of Warner, Tompkinson, etc., they've got so many defenders at the level. So that's resulted in one of those centre-halves playing as a makeshift right-back and inverted in field, whilst Lucian's actually played more wider. So I think he's definitely had a lot of exposure to a lot of different roles across the season, and exactly in midfield as well. In the game against, I think it was Bristol City at home, I think the first team wanted to see him more in midfield, and I think that game was 1-1 in the end, and Lucian actually had quite a really big important role for that goal. Managed to win the ball and play a beautiful penetrating pass through to Elliot Miles, and then they managed to score from it. So he's such a very, very good pass on the ball, and there's so much to like about his game. Whether he gets in that midfield conversation with the likes of Lungi, McLean, Nunes, etc., when they're all back, Samani, look, it's going to be very, very difficult. I'm still unsure whether his best position for Norwich will be left back or midfield in the future. I think probably more left back, so maybe next year we might actually see more of him in that role compared to now. But he's definitely on the right trajectory, and probably one of Norwich's best signings of the summer, I think, in the long term. There's so much to like about his game, and he's just so composed, and has got brilliant. He's also very, very composed, and his kind of passing variety in all phases of the pitch is brilliant. And hopefully he can kick on in a Norwich at first team level, because he's a very, very good talent.
That's a big call, massive call to say he's one of Norwich's best signings of the summer, especially when he's yet to maybe feature in a first team game. But we will wait and see on that front. Maybe he could
long term.
Yeah, no, very much for the long term, as Will has said there. So we'll wait and see with that one. Maybe he can come into the team. We'll have to wait and see. You never know. But signing really for Norwich who maybe hasn't been so great. It's not a player. It's someone in that backroom staff. A certain Nick Stanley, who was brought in from Brighton and Hove Albion, a set-piece coach. He's not done very well. Norwich haven't scored from a set-piece this season, and it's starting to be a bit more against them in recent weeks. And if you remember, if anyone keeps in touch with Norwich on social media, I'm sure a lot of people now do it in the modern age. There was a lot of joyful Brighton fans in the comments sections of our social media pages when we appointed Nick Stanley. I remember one of them being, "You will never score from a corner again." And as it stands, they're looking like a pretty good call. It looks a good call because Norwich haven't scored from a set piece yet. But maybe were those early concerns, were they fair about Norwich from set pieces? Because they're starting to look a bit more shaky when defending them. And when they actually have them in promising areas, just don't really seem to have anything from it. But could that more be down to rather the coaching of what they want to do on a set piece? And maybe it could be down to not really having a set piece specialist, if you will. They had Gabriel Sara to do it last season. He's no longer here. Marcelino Nunez popped up with the odd free kick, but he's not played over the last few weeks. He's been out injured. Emi Marcondes he has his own free kick school, but he's not scored a free kick yet. He hasn't got an assist from a free kick yet. So what do you think, really, that the three of you? Do you think it's more down to just not the best coach in that area of play, or are just Norwich maybe devoid of a set piece mastermind, really, if you will?
I think it certainly doesn't help that, like you said there, Freddie, that we've had sort of three like big players sort of go amiss. So Gabriel Sara last season, our set piece specialist, is obviously no longer at the club. Marcelino Nunez is out injured. And then Marcondes hasn't really done much in terms of the set piece front since he's joined the club. So it's hard, obviously, losing a player who's as good as Gabriel Sara and having someone like Marcelino Nunez and his threat from free kicks out injured. That instantly puts Norwich on the back foot then in terms of set pieces. But it also doesn't help as well. That we have got a coach who's coming from Brighton with such a poor reputation. So for me, I think it's a little bit of both. Where we could be coached better, but also we have had significant factors such as the departure of Sara and Nunez's injury that have gone against us.
I think also as well, there's scenarios where I think Norwich just let a bit of concentration in vital areas. I think that was what was the reason why we probably conceded one of the first goals that the West Brom scored. Just a little bit lack of concentration at quite an important moment as well. But I also must add as well, right? There are so many teams in this league who are just so dominant from set pieces. And it feels like there's I'm thinking of Mill, Derby, they've just got a team of 10, 11 giants. And it's so hard to defend against. So I think there's a bit of that at some point as well. But I'll also be lying to you as well. But it feels like every set piece gets aimed towards Shane Duffy. And he just can't seem to direct it on target often enough, really. So, look, I'm no set piece expert by any means. But I do think there needs to be a bit more variety at times. Obviously, we have seen Norwich play short as well at times. So, look, I can see that they are trying to find solutions, but it still feels like the idea is to try and use Shane Duffy from set pieces very, very frequently.
Essentially, with this question, Freddie, what you were asking is, what's going on in training?
Yeah, I am very much. Yeah,
that's literally what you were asking, and I don't rightly know. I ain't got a clue. But yeah, I mean, Will, you alluded to it. We have a player who is primed and ready to put some stonkers in, but yeah, every sort of Shane Duffy chance that I can remember with his head, it hasn't even been close. It's kind of been ballooned into the Holiday Inn or into the Wensum. I don't know what. Maybe we need to get Hanley back. No, bad idea. Poor guy. I'm trying to think of creative solutions here. I mean, you talk about like the set piece delivery. Surely Borja's been working on his set pieces and his free kicks. So I guess he just needs to put a little bit of swaz on it. But I guess it's indicative of a system that doesn't like to play, kind of the crossing and heading, hoofing style of football. It's very much kind of the delicate pass and move. So set pieces just aren't really something that we use within our arsenal. But like Will has said, there are so many teams in the Championship that do that. So maybe we just need to get like Sam Allardyce or Tony Pulis in as just like an assistant set piece coach. I'm sure Alan Kirbishley is around. What's Pardew up to? He's probably, he probably likes Norfolk. There's boats and stuff. That's nice. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't suit Norwich's vibe of being this kind of cool, trendy, forward-thinking, passing, flowing, wonderful Barcelona style-esque team. If we're just, constantly just being like, Shane, come on, Shane, go on, Shane, go on. I don't know. How tall is Cordoba? He must be over 6 foot. He's. What about glancing header at the near post? Go on. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just not doing any set piece training.
No,
but they're definitely not doing any defending from set pieces because we conceded that terrible one against Wednesday, and then a hysterically bad one against West Brom, where it was the sort of typical one where everyone was sort of put their arms up in the air and they were shrugging. Everyone says, "Oh, is it zonal? Is it man marking?" I think it's whatever they like. Clearly, I don't know whether Nick Stanley has actually started work yet, but if he has, Nick, if you're listening, pull your finger out, Nick. What proof's in the pudding, mate? Like if we scored from a corner, and we're defending them really well, then you know what? Fair play. We can say wonderful set piece appointment, fantastic, working very well. But proof's in the pudding, much like Will's custard. There's no pudding. We want some pudding.
Can I just say something?
Go on.
Like what? Like where has this exception come with me? Like in custard, like I'm so much prefer cream. It's so far clear custard.
Oh come on!
I'm just gonna put it out there. Cream is so far clear custard. It's cream any day.
No.
Nah, cream.
No.
Cream is clear of custard. I must admit.
Oh, Henry, what's
also,
wrong with you?
Come on. The most important thing here. If you have a hot dessert, do you have cold custard with it?
No.
Like if you've got like a hot like sponge pudding, do you have cold custard with it just to sort of balance it out a bit?
Yeah.
Or is it both hot?
Oh, come on. You two need your heads checked. No, come on. Come on.
Ambrosia, if you are listening, we're looking for a sponsor for our podcast. Please do get in touch when we would love to eat custard and talk about anti-cernats. So please do get in touch.
Oh, but shameless self-promotion. It's fantastic. No, well, we've gone from bolognese and toast to custard in a 2-week spell. So we're full of analogies and with food here. But no, well, the nonsense will continue, I'm afraid, for anyone who's sitting here thinking, what? This is meant to be long-winded opinions about football. The team I like, they're talking about bloody custard. What are they on about? But no, it's the nonsense continues, I'm afraid, because it's quick fire time. Now, if you're new around here on the MFW channel, firstly, where have you been? Secondly, we do every single podcast. Jack writes up some quick fire questions for us to answer, and we have to be quick with it, otherwise we get a bit of a telling off. So we need to be quick with it, and they're all complete nonsense, and they're just a good bit of fun to keep us all smiling and maybe come out with something a little bit silly. But I'll hand it over to our man in maroon to give us the questions.
It's white as well. It's ombre, apparently. I don't know.
Jack, 2015 called. They want their hoodie back.
Well, Freddie and Will, I've got some lovely quick takes for you. Quick, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, just 5. I'm not going to do my version. Actually, do you want me to give my answer?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
all right then. That was only for when we would have a man down, but now we're a man full. I'll still do them. Question 1. Who has been the most disappointing signing so far this season?
Right. Well, what order do we do this? You know what? I'll let one of Will or Henry take it away.
I'll go first. I'll go Forson.
Yeah, Forson, I agree.
And say Ciernats.
I would probably say Cernats, just for the money. I think,
I agree.
you know, like I said before, I'm not sure if we negotiated or were just like, here's all of our Adam Eder money. Can we have him, please? Question 2. Who is Norwich's best ever free kick taker?
That's funny. We're talking about set pieces.
Yeah.
Best. We can't really say anyone else other than Ian Crook.
I'm going to go for Madison.
Just because of that promotion season and that free kick, I'm just going to say
Franchise. Don't say it. No. Go on, say it.
Top bids.
I love Mario too much. I might have to go Mario.
Yeah,
Mario. I remember Nathan Redmond scoring a direct free kick against Blackpool, and it was the most unconvincing free kick I've ever seen. I don't think he's ever scored a free kick again in his life. I might be wrong. I was going to go Madison, just because, yeah. I think the things that boy could do. I remember that one against Preston, which was basically like level with the box all that way out. That was, yeah. And at that point, you know, you were all thinking, yeah, this kid's definitely going to play for England one day. Question 3. Which generally regarded poor signing do you believe deserved more chances?
Oh, bloody hell. I think this is where arguments start when we finish recording here.
Yeah.
You know what? Stephen Naismith.
No. He had so many chances.
No. I'll go with a proper answer. I'll go with that Rick Van Winkle.
Okay.
Ooh. I'm going to go for a bit of Kyle Lafferty.
Kyle Lafferty?
Yes.
I mean, technically, the answer should be Luciano Becchio because he came in, played like one game, and then just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, but look how good he was for Leeds. Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Just a reminder, Luciano Becchio for Norwich replaced Harry Kane. Just chucking that out there.
He's right.
Yeah. I was thinking Ricky, and I think we probably should have maybe given him a chance in the Championship. I don't think he wants to play, so I don't think that was... And I think he did play enough games in that top flight season to warrant that he wasn't up to scratch. I'm going to say Yannick Wildschut. I think I think he should have been given more games.
It was
I
between
think.
Welsh and Lafferty for me.
Yeah, no, I think like there was a player in there somewhere. I don't know, but maybe it's just like the fact that we spent so much money on him, and yeah. But I don't know. Like there. I mean, the other obvious one is like Zolis. Like should we have actually stuck with him and played him? Because didn't he just score a hat trick for Bruges last night?
No,
I think
no
so.
idea.
Anyway, he's gone.
He did.
What is the weirdest Norwich themed Christmas gift or gift full stop that you've ever received?
Well, I've only ever really received the books, so I mean, actually no. I'll go with a Santa bauble with a yellow and green Norwich hat. That was an interesting one, considering I wasn't going to use it until about a year later.
Will's genuinely looking for his. He's got his awful present on the floor.
You know what? Do you know what? I found something. So I've got an Xbox controller here, and it's got a Norwich City cover on it that you had to peel on. So I've got a black controller here, and I put on like a Norwich City custom skin, and I got it for Christmas, and I was absolutely delighted. There you go.
That's actually blown me away a bit, because I was going to say exactly the same thing as well. I've got that exact controller skin. I've got that exact controller skin as well.
Excellent. Oh,
Forgive the dust on it, lads, but it's an absolute thing of beauty.
For anyone who's not watching, it's in the design of the 2019-20 ombre kit that faded about halfway down the shirt.
Like my hoodie.
Yeah.
So I mean, I someone for a work Secret Santa knew that I like Norwich, so for a cheap gift got me loads of pairs of different Norwich socks. I'm apparently really easy to buy for in terms of presents. It's like just give him something Norwich themed and he'll be fine, which generally works. Yeah. And finally, final question. I will caveat this with please drink responsibly, but you open your own pub in the fine city. Which 3 beverages are you putting on draft?
Oh, goodness me, that's a fantastic question. I'm going to try and I'm going to go for 3 different points here. Obviously, people like stout, so I think Guinness is a bit of a staple point. I mean, I hate it personally, but a lot of people seem to really like it all of a sudden. So I'll have that just for that. Just for that, you want to have a beer because a lot of people drink beer, but this is where it's interesting. No, so you get a beer, but what beer do you go with?
Will, please wait your turn. I know you're eager. I know you're sat on your chair itching, but please let Freddie finish.
No, with the beer.
I was lagging, mate. Sorry, I thought he's finished.
No. I'll have Guinness there. I'll put Cruz Campo there because Spanish beer everyone seems to really like all of a sudden. I feel like if it's got a thing with a Spanish shepherd on it, it's going to sell well. So we'll have Cruz Campo there. And then for the fruit lovers, I'll put a cider in there. I'll go with what's the bloody Norfolk one called? There's one from Norfolk. I can't remember what it is. Oh, they do so many. I can't remember the name of it, so I'll just put Inches on tap.
Ooh, okay, William. He's lagging.
Yeah,
you ready?
Big time.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I want Corona, Coors, and do you know what? My favourite beer, yeah, but it's never on draft. I love Sol so much, so Sol's going to go on there for me as well. And that'll be for me a hat trick of 3, and that is what I'll get for the rest of my Caro season ticket career.
Go on, Henry.
I agree with Freddie. I feel like you have to have a bit of variety. In terms of the cider, I'd either go for Old Moo or Recorder Lig. Those for me are like the ideal ciders. Guinness has to be on there, and then like quite a like in brand lager, so sort of like Moretti or something like that. Because I know the reputation, especially among my friend group, has soured on Moretti a bit, but it is still an OG. Like you got to back the Moretti, I think. So yeah, those will be the ones for me.
Yeah, you're all wrong. I'm more of a cider guy, so it's got to be Aspel. Got to have Aspel on tap. Dark fruits, Strongbow.
Oh God! Are you 15?
No, I don't care. I love it. What was the other one? Forgot it. Estrella.
Actually,
That well-known cider,
I
Estrella
am
down.
not having.
Well, yeah,
I'm
because I'm having one beer.
Oh, here we go. It's head loss.
I'm not having my cider on tap. I'm going to put a Jubel Peach on tap because they are lovely. If you don't know, get to know. They are amazing.
Fair enough. I think I'm going to have to get. I think we all have to get to. Will looks disgusted in tomorrow. He's absolutely. He just. I think he's just gagged a little bit. I don't think he's very happy with the fruity drinks. I think he obviously likes his grain very much, but no. So yeah. But as Jack said, do drink responsibly, please. Be careful with if you do tinkle in a couple of glasses, maybe some shots as well if you really fancy it, and then maybe you start getting up for it a little bit. But no, let us know what pints you would have if you ran a pub in the comments. But yeah, no, and if you're under the age of 18 and doing that, then just be careful. Just be a little bit careful. But anyhow, there's your lot. There's your good bit of fun. Some sort of sensible talk throughout, but just sort of went a little bit off track at the end, it has to be said. But no, it's all good fun, and we hope you've enjoyed watching or listening to the newest episode of the MFW podcast, just as much as we do, getting together every week and recording it. But no, it's goodbye for now. We hope you've all enjoyed it, and we'll see you either on Spotify for the next episode of the pod, or we'll see you on the YouTube channel for the next video of ours. Goodbye for now, and we'll see you all again very soon.